Guys, let's go to the fixture for this game week. And it's starting off with Liverpool traveling to Brentford. Yes, Liverpool traveling to Brentford. And then we've got some top of the table clash. Arsenal up against Newcastle United. A lot of the guys outside Arsenal drop points during the week, and they'll be looking they'll be looking for blood this game week. Arsenal host Newcastle United. Everton will go on to host Brighton. Fulham travel to Leicester City, and then Manchester United will be at home to Bournemouth. And then on Wednesday, Southampton host Nottingham Forest. West Ham travel to Leeds. Wolves will be guests to Aston Villa, while Crystal Palace will host Tottenham Hotspur in a very, very big London derby. While the final game of the game week will see Chelsea take on Manchester City, and that's on Thursday evening. And guys, we're going to start from that game. Chelsea up against Manchester City. A lot of history around these two. All of a sudden, now these two teams became super big when they had big financiers, and in that period, they've gone on to win all kinds of trophies. Pep Guardiola has come to England, and his Manchester City side have totally dominated the domestic front, winning league titles, breaking records, and all of that. While Chelsea, on their part, have been able to, win some Premier League titles, win in Europe as well. So these are two big teams by all rights in the Premier League. And I'm going to start with you, Femi. Chelsea, Manchester United. What can we look forward to in this game?
Well, Chelsea City, you meant, and to be fair, it's not going to get any bigger than this when it comes to the Premier League, because these are the two teams with all the money, isn't it? And they can buy players, they can do whatever they want. But I think on a good day, you probably would have said yes. They still that Chelsea, I mean, last season Chelsea won everything on site, didn't they? And you would have thought yes. They could go on and even push a little more with if you had bought Aubameyang 2 seasons ago, maybe it would have been setting the Premier League alight now. But this is except the impossible happens where we saw Everton go to City and draw. I think this is all City, because City have that power. Even Aubameyang came into the game, he couldn't really connect properly in that game against Nottingham Forest, and they lost. So if I look at the team, the Chelsea team, they can't even tell who their goalkeeper is. This week is Arrizabalaga. The next week is the Senegalese goalkeeper. So Ziyech had a great World Cup. He's come back, and he's not really got there yet. Cucurella was a big money buy. He's not really set the place alight. The two guys at the back that would have done the job for them are injured, and I think really Chelsea are lightweight at the minute. And who's there to score goals for them? Mason Mount would have been doing well. Aubameyang would have been the guy you could count on. You can go on and on. Right? I think City are still there, and they will react to. I bet Pep will be talking to them seriously about that draw with Everton. So all one way for me, honestly. I think City will hedge this, but it's going to be a cracker. One thing I can guarantee, because the crowd will be on top of the Chelsea players, and would not expect them to lie down. But in the end, I think City would have too much power, and maybe not just the firepower, they would have the quality to actually win the game.
What's your score prediction?
Well, my score prediction, I think, is going to be City probably to do it 2-1, but my mind tells me it might be 3-1 even. I think City will score the extra goal, just to really put Chelsea where they should be.
Festus, roll on the stats.
Yeah, Kali, historically, between these two guys, it has been tight. If you look at the last 15 matches, I'm going that far. Both of them have won 23 times. That tells you 23 times each, and they've drawn 4 times. Now, if we come down to the last 5 matches, City has won 3, Chelsea has won 2, with 0 draw. So you could see historically, these two teams have been at par. They've been tied together. They've been like, anybody can actually win at any point in time. But realistically, we'll come back to the current form between these two teams. When you see where City sits and where Chelsea sits in terms of matches, I think Chelsea has won just 1 match in 5 league games, 1 draw and 3 losses. So that tells you where they are realistically in terms of today. And like Femi said, I don't see this match going any other way than one way. I see, I think City will take this, especially they want to bounce back from that disappointing draw against Everton. I see the boys coming back and they want to stay close to Arsenal as much as possible. They know that any attempt at this point in time to drop further points, it makes it harder for them to catch up against Arsenal. So I see them going gun blazing against Chelsea. And at the end of the day, that Chelsea is clearly a disarray with the rumors that Potter is having a meeting and may likely even be sacked. I don't know if that meeting has held. I don't know if anything has happened. But that alone will destabilize those players, and that alone has set that team in disarray. So I don't see anything happening than a City win, and I see a 3-1 win for City.
Eddie, key battles for you in this one. Chelsea have struggled for goals. Lately they lost to Brighton and Hove Albion, scoring only 1 goal and conceding 4. Against Arsenal, they couldn't even smell the goal. They lost to Newcastle United. Were only able to beat Bournemouth 2-0. That's their last 5 games. Against Nottingham Forest, they were lucky not to lose that game because Nottingham Forest created some chances in the game. So they are struggling for goals. They brought in Aubameyang, is not doing the job. Where will the key battles be, and who will be the X factor on either side?
So when I look at Chelsea, I think their problem really starts from the midfield, how they create goals. It's not so much that the people that are in front of goals, that when they get in front of goal, they are missing chance after chance. They are not creating enough chances to convert for Chelsea. Chelsea's strength right now seems like, I think if Porter had enough time, he wanted to build from the back, get the right kind of players in the back, be solid. That's how his framework was in Brighton. Have a solid, very difficult to play against team. And then you can have a few players that can go out there and create the goals for you. So, but Chelsea, for me, they need to figure out who plays in their midfield, who has the right kind of partnership there. Is it Mount, in that midfield with Jorginho? Is that the partnership that actually works? Which is the partnership that works for them? So for me, I think that's where it's going to be there and where Man City has an edge over Chelsea. Having said that, though, I think that, you have to be careful when there are double headers. Man City and Chelsea play each other very closely, one in the Premier League and the other in the Cup. So I think that there's going to be a lot of racing. When you play two teams, when you play the same team back to back, usually that first game is very tense. Nobody wants to give up anything because it might affect the confidence for the next game. So actually, I see this game going to a draw between these two teams. I think Porter, with the pressure that he's having, will want to keep it quite solid. And, Man City, they are playing away from home, actually, at Chelsea. So I expect that, we might get a score draw in this one, a 1-1 score draw. That's what I'm looking at in this game. Because I just think that the fact that the two teams are playing each other very, very shortly after this game might mean that this is a very close affair.
All right. I hear you, but I look at the Chelsea team, and like I said, problems will be goals for them. Manchester City, they were supposed to be hunting Arsenal down, according to Haaland, but they dropped points in their last game against Everton. They scored, and it looked like, they were going to win that game. It was going to be business as usual, but Everton came to decide, and Everton could have actually nicked that game. Everton could have nicked that game, but it didn't happen. The last 5 times these guys have played each other, City have won 3 times, and I think Chelsea have won twice. But the last 3 times they've played, I think City has won, and I think City will win this one. The Premier League over any other cup games right now, and that's because City have the luxury of rotating the squad. They have a lot of good quality players. We've seen the manager bench, Foden bench, Cancelo bench, a lot of these guys. Expect to see them in this game, and then expect to see some other experienced guys in the cup game as well. So I think City is going to win this one. They're just going to bounce back from that disappointing draw against Everton, a game that all of us thought they were going to win, easily. They're going to bounce back from that, and I'm seeing a 3-1 victory to Manchester City in this game. So I think Man City will win this one 3-1. Let's go to that to the London derby. Crystal Palace going up against Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham didn't know what hit them when Aston Villa. I didn't see that coming in any way. And you could see Aston Villa, immediately they got that goal, they didn't look back. They looked very, very composed, very, very organized in the middle, and they didn't allow the danger men talk about Son and Kane. They didn't allow them time and space on the ball at all. I totally enjoyed the intensity, the tenacity of the Aston Villa midfield, the way they kept running, and at the end of the day, they got them the result they wanted. But Tottenham Hotspur's wounded Lions, they are going out there to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace can be inconsistent. They are, I think, one of the most inconsistent side in the league. And I'm going to start with you, Festus, on this one. Crystal Palace are home to Tottenham Hotspur. It's a London derby, so there's a grudge battle in there. But at the same time, look at the forms of these two sides and what can we expect. Don't forget the stats.
At this point, I don't have stats for you on this match.
yeah, dropping the
ball. Okay, but the only thing I can tell you in terms of their current form, I know Crystal Palace, out of the 5 matches, their recent 5 matches, they've won 2, they've lost 2, and they've drawn 1. While Tottenham have actually also won 2, drawn 2, and lost 1. They are almost, just like you said, Crystal Palace are one of the yo-yo team we have in EPL. You don't know what to expect. You could see today a fantastic Crystal Palace, and the next day you see, an open leaking Crystal Palace. But same can also be said of Tottenham to an extent. Somebody mentioned that they've been lucky. I totally agree. They've been winning matches in a funny way. They play badly, they grind out the results, and it has been consistent in that manner. And sometimes they call them the comeback king. So they play badly first half, and second half, they come back. At times they nick a draw. At times they just, manage to get a win. But it has been showing all season that this team, we've been saying it clearly here, that this team something is wrong, and this team is clearly not okay. And it started showing. A whole lot of teams have started, closing up when they play well and holding their own, to get the results. And that happened in the last match. For this match also, I think Crystal Palace will win this. It's a London derby, first of all. And remember, the guy at the helm of affairs is one of our legends. He knows, he owes us, and he knows that he has to get one, for us. He's doing it for Gunners, not even for Palace fans. So I see Vieira setting up his team in a way that they need to get this. And at home, I think they will beat Tottenham. For me, my prediction in this match is a 2-0 victory for Crystal Palace. I think Spurs is going to lose this also. Their bad form and bad run will continue in this match.
Femi, let's look at both sides and look at the injury list. For Manchester City, they have the bigger worry. Kulusevski is still out, Lucas Moura is out, Richarlison is out, and it's telling on the way they've played. Richarlison comes with that. When there's trouble, I can single-handedly drive the team, run everywhere, harass everybody. Kulusevski is their main creative outlet. He's been their main creative outlet and is out of that, whatever. Where will the key battles be when they face Crystal Palace, who have almost all their main guys, fit for the game?
For Palace, I think Olise, who was the man of the match in the last game, if he's back on the pitch, Eze as well. They've got some exciting players at Palace, haven't they? You can't rule out the magic of the wonderful Wilfred Zaha as well. So it's for Edouard can score goals. He's very young. He's very hardworking as well. So Palace, you're always going to get industry from them. Just only because they've got a young team, which was the same problem Arsenal also had previously. When you've got a young team, you're going to get good days and bad days. But they're settling down little by little. So I think most of their work will probably be in their head. If they can get Olise doing what he's able to do, Eze as well, Jordan Ayew will fight for the ball up top. I think it could be a good day for Palace, especially with the very vocal fans. I went to an Arsenal Palace game away at Palace, and it was the most intimidating set of people I could ever imagine. So, I just like Faye said, I probably would say the battles would be more in the hands of the Palace team. If they can get their own, it will be in their mind. If they can get it right, I think they'll take Spurs to the cleaners. But because they're a young team, you just can't guarantee what you're going to get. That's the only worry I have for them. Because, I mean, look, Spurs look lightweight at the minute. That middle pack, Kulusevski is not there. And I think Bentancur is the biggest miss. That
Bentancur is not there as well. He's not there as well.
He's the biggest miss. If he's in the team, he can drive them forward and help them. So if Palace get it right in their mind, honestly, I think it's all Palace. And my prediction will probably be a very, very odd 1-0 victory to Palace.
And Kali, may they continue to be missed for now.
Bele United. All right, Eddie, quick one. Every time Crystal Palace have scored before the break, they've not lost. Every time they score before halftime, they've not lost. But every time they've not scored before halftime, they've lost. Wow. What has Spurs got to do? since first was refused to give us stats and decided to whip off one.
That's very interesting. And considering Spurs don't wake up until the second half of games, so I mean, what's going to give in that game? Listen, what a great goal by Eze. That's that corner routine. To hit that ball first time, I could watch that goal every single day. It was stuff of dreams. Listen, Spurs are in trouble. If they didn't know that, they know it now. Bissouma picked up his 5th yellow card, so he's not going to be available.
Yeah, he's not going to play. Yeah.
I don't know who's going to play in that middle of the pack for them. For me, I'm going with a 3-0 victory to Crystal Palace. That's how confident I am about what Crystal Palace is going to be doing to Spurs. I just look at Spurs, right? If you look at that last game, 3 of their back 5 defenders had yellow cards. They had a torrid time, against Villa, and Villa attacked them with pace. Now imagine the pace that Crystal Palace are going to be bringing, against Tottenham with Eze, with Saha, with Ayew. Listen, I think if you're a Spurs fan, maybe you should be watching that game from behind your sofa, because it could get very ugly very quickly. So I'm going with a 3-0 victory for Crystal Palace.
Wow, that's some bold predictions. I thought I was going to go crazy with my prediction, but Eddie apparently beat me too. But I agree totally that Spurs look very, very lightweight, very weak, very depleted at the moment. And, missing Bentancur and Kulusevski is huge. The likes of Højbjerg and the rest of them, they are just hard workers without the creative instinct that players like Bentancur and what's his name now, Kulusevski, bring to this. Every time I see Kulusevski on the field, I'm always worried, about his opponents, because the guy is tricky. He's so intelligent on the ball that you can't totally predict his next move, and that's why he's a big miss in this game. And Crystal Palace, they will keep running at you for the entire duration of the game. Zaha is not going to stop running. Eze is not going to stop running. Jordan Ayew is not going to stop running. And then you now have Olise. I almost said Sunday Olise. You have Olise, there, who can also be very, very intelligent on his day. They're running at you. You have a lot of youngsters, like Femi pointed out, running at you. They will run at you the entire game, and they will not get tired. And that's going to be a problem. It's that pace, that tenacity, was what Spurs couldn't handle against Aston Villa. And that's the same thing they're going to face, or even more, when they face Crystal Palace. And, Crystal Palace will look at this as an opportunity to take points off one of the, supposedly traditional, almost big teams, in the Premier League. I can't call Spurs a big team in the side. So I'm predicting a 2-0 victory for Tottenham Hotspur in this one. Harry Kane loves to score against this side, so will he get the goal? But the midfield is not there to service him like he likes to be serviced. So he's going to be doing a lot more number 10 work, coming deep and expecting Son to be the one, running around and, hopefully get the goal. So I think Crystal Palace will just nick this one 2-0. Arsenal up against Newcastle United. That's our final game. It's the game so many Arsenal fans in this stretch of fixtures. That's one game a lot of Arsenal fans are really looking forward to. I've heard people say after the Brighton victory, if Arsenal beat Newcastle United, it's going to be a huge, huge statement to everybody else that if you didn't believe before now that we mean business, now we're telling you we mean business. Femi, I'm going to start with you on this one. Arsenal, top of the table, blowing everybody away, playing like they don't care what you're bringing, even when they are losing, when they've considered goals, they stay true to their style of play. They keep on, the high press, the push you and all of that. Against Newcastle United, I'm tempted to ask you some funny questions, but Arsenal is blowing everybody away. What can Newcastle do to stop that run? Because somebody needs to stop them.
Newcastle don't need to do anything new. Because if you look at the 2022 Premier League table from January to December, Newcastle are actually fourth on that table. Just behind Man City on 79 points. Also, Liverpool on 79 points, although they've played 34 and 35 games, so Liverpool have played a game more. Arsenal have played the same 35 games, have got 77 points, which is remarkable. But Newcastle have 72 points. So if you go a whole year from 36 games, 72 points, you don't really need to do anything. In fact, they have a healthier goals difference, plus 36, and we have 30. So they don't need, they've won the last six, they've won the last 6 games on the trot before they drew with Leeds. And remember as well, they've not lost since August. So the reality is they don't need to do anything new. They just need to continue the good work. And even though I'm incredibly confident, and I think the one reason why we should and we will beat Newcastle is because of the home fans. Even if they score, look at what happened against West Ham. The fans got behind the team straight away. And there is and that's why I thought Crystal Palace would also beat Spurs. If you have a vocal home support, it's hard for an opposition team to come and run you down at home. And that's why we've won every game at home this season. So Newcastle will turn up. I know they will give us a great game, but I think the fans will be the reason why we win the game. They honestly don't need to do anything new, Newcastle. They just need to continue their good work. But I think the fans will get us over the line. I think they'll score as well, Newcastle. They've got goals in them. But we should edge this 2-1. It's going to be very tight, honestly. 2-1 to the Arsenal.
First Femi is predicting 2-1 to the Arsenal. He's saying Newcastle need not do anything new. They just keep doing what they're doing. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't. I think they are going to do a whole lot more from what they were doing. Thanks to Eddie Howe, he's a brilliant coach. He's not going to play the same way he plays.
I'm happy to hear people calling Eddie Howe brilliant now.
No, what he did at Bournemouth, everybody saw. He is a brilliant. I like his way of play. Yeah, a lot of people thought he was lightweight because of what he did there, but he's proving to everybody that he's a very good coach. He reads the game well, and the way he set up his team is fantastic. But for me, I don't agree with what Femi is saying that he doesn't have to do. He has to do a whole lot because he has to watch Arsenal play. He has to position. He has to set up his team against the way Arsenal play. Definitely, he has to do something different from what he has.
First, they beat us 2-0 at the end of last
season.
Yeah.
I'm coming to that. See, what I'm saying
that was last season.
Last season and this same team.
That was just a few months ago.
No, see, this is 2 different teams. Yeah, we ended the season on a high, but the mentality of that team and this team is totally different. If you're hoping on what happened in that last match, I think you'll be on for a big surprise. So clearly he's going to do something different. That's the point I'm making. Now, let me come to the bookmakers, what they are saying about this match. They are actually giving us now a whole lot of percentage to win this match. The bookmakers are saying us now has about 54% win for this match, and they're giving 22% to Newcastle. And most people are saying 24% will be draw. Now, if you look at the head-to-head, Femi, let me come back to you now. If you look at the head-to-head of these 2 teams, we've had a joy against Newcastle. The last 5 matches, we're actually beating them 4 times. And the last win they had was they won, that was in May, if I'm not mistaken, 2-0 in May. So if you look at both teams, you could see that we've always had our way against Newcastle. But let's not take away the fantastic work Eddie Howe has done on this team, because this is totally a different team. They have only lost 1 match in 17 league out in Scally, and that's remarkable. This is something only the best could boast at this point in time. Out of 17 matches, only lost one. And remember, they also drew against Man City, which is another thing most clubs don't get easily. And it's not like they drew against Man City in an Everton way, where you could say, okay, everybody took it. They actually played Man City to a standstill. It was an end-to-end game, and they actually played very well. They almost nicked that much. So that tells you a lot, the quality of Newcastle at this point in time. Now, the question is, are we going to win this? I'm hopeful, yes, we're going to win this. Based on our form, based on the way we play, based on the fearless factor in our team at this point in time. I remember when this guy was asked, is it Martinelli, after the match against Leeds, and they were asking him, when you saw the match against the draw from Man City, did they spoil you guys? Said they don't care the result of others. All they do is they face the opponent in front of them and they get their result. They are not interested in what happens elsewhere. And this is the mentality I've seen in this team. So based on that, I think they approach this match knowing full well that they have to win this match. And based on that, I think Arsenal will nick this. And it's not going to be, Arsenal is going to surprise a lot of people. It's not going to be a tight game the way everybody has predicted. I think this match will end the likes of 2-0 or 3-1.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. It will be a tight match, according to Festus. Eddie, Newcastle have conceded just one goal in their last 5 games. They kept up teams like Leeds, Chelsea, and the rest of them. Last 5 games, they've conceded just 1 goal, and they've scored 12 in that period. Arsenal last 5 games have conceded 3. So Arsenal concede goals, but Arsenal in that period as well have scored 15 goals. So 2 teams that love to score goals. Stingy at the back, but they love to score goals. But then Newcastle seem to have the better organized defensive setup, considering the fact that they've only been able to let in just 1 goal in the last. But I'll throw a stat in your face now. Arsenal are yet to concede in their last 6 games against Newcastle at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal haven't conceded to Newcastle in their last 6 games at the Emirates Stadium. So now, without running in your mind, tell us your thoughts on the game.
I'm going to add another future stat because Newcastle have only lost 1 game. They're going to lose 2 against Arsenal. So let me first of all start with that. Eddie Howe, brilliant coach, had one mind in this game, because if you look at the lineup that Newcastle played against Leeds, Callum Wilson was on the bench. Alan Saint-Maximin was on the bench. These are players that played very well against Arsenal when we lost to them at St. James Park. What I think everyone is mistaken is that at the Emirates, Arsenal are actually very, very good. I have a lot of confidence with Arsenal playing at the Emirates. I expect Arsenal to score 4 goals in this game. That's my confidence with Arsenal in this game. I think that Newcastle would have had an eye on this game, that if they beat Arsenal, it will be a big statement. And I think that Arsenal will be very, very prepared. I like the way Mikel is preparing the team now for matches like this. Everything is going to be down to, what we do with our chances in front of goal. And I think Martinelli, Saka, and Odegaard playing the way that they are playing right now, I think will be more than a match for Newcastle. So I'm not worried. I know people keep saying it's going to be a statement. It's going to be a statement. I think, Arsenal have shown over the last couple of games that they don't fear anybody, especially at the Emirates. So I'm going for a 4-1 victory to Arsenal.
Okay, Eddie.
You say what?
So Eddie is on something this after. Eddie is on
Eddie,
something.
you say what? Please repeat.
Nobody can tell me otherwise. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Okay, 4-1 to the Arsenal, according to Eddie. All right, I'll run through a few stats for this game. Arsenal have won 5 of their last 10 games against Newcastle United by 2 or more goals. They've won their last 5. Have won 5 of their last 10 games against Newcastle United by 2 or more goals. Arsenal have won 7 of their last 10 home games against Newcastle United by 2 or more goals. So if you're a betting person, you want to bet that Arsenal will score at least 2 goals, in this one. Newcastle United have kept a clean sheet in their last 5 matches. So all of that, Newcastle United, they look good. They're doing the job. They're doing the everything. But yes, everybody keeps talking about them beating Arsenal the last time out, towards the tail end of the season. But one of the things everybody will agree to is Arsenal is a totally different proposition this season. And that's why a lot of teams Arsenal lost to last year, Arsenal have beaten them roundly this year. Brentford is an example, of such teams. Arsenal, Liverpool is an example of another of such teams as well. Arsenal have grown. There's something about the belief in the team. And Arsene Wenger said something that when you win and you win again and again, it becomes a habit. And you don't want to give up. You don't want to stop winning. So even when you're losing in a game, there's this thing that rings in your head that, oh, we've done it before, we can do it again. And that's why the West Ham game, I was very happy when I saw the team, even after conceding, that goal to West Ham. They didn't change whatever they were doing. They didn't look like they were going to drop their heads or panic. They continued, they stayed true to the football that has won the team a lot of points this season. And that's what the team is going to see against Newcastle. One of the biggest mistakes Newcastle will make is play an open game against Arsenal. And that's where the game is going to look very easy for Arsenal, because with time and space on the ball, Martin Odegaard will kill anybody with those sublime passes he's been throwing around. Look at the goal. Martinelli scored against West Ham. That one touch, the presence of mind to think about Martinelli's run, and the way he flung that pass, inch perfect, the right pace on the ball, the right spin on the ball, and the exact position where he wants the ball to be to help the run of Martinelli. And my darling brother, the Ghanaian guy, could not keep up with Martinelli at that point. And that's what Odegaard brings into the side. And it looks like he gets better with every game. He's going to run rings around that midfield. I'm sure Bruno Guimaraes is going to sit on Martin Odegaard, and that's going to diminish his own game, because Bruno Guimaraes doesn't like to man mark. All he wants to do is go into any kind of tackles and then start Newcastle's attack. Joelinton, he wants to hold up play. He wants to hold the ball and all of that. And if Arsenal can keep the ball away from them, let them do the running, and then I think Arsenal will win this one. But I worry for Almiron. I think Maximin is going to start this game, and that's because I think Eddie Howe is a brilliant guy. He's going to want to put our fullbacks under pressure, and he wants to do it at the same time. Almiron on one side, Maximin on the other side. They keep running at them. Joelinton in the middle, keeping Partey and Xhaka busy, while Guimaraes, is the man who shields, screens everybody from behind, and starts all the attack for them. But on the reverse side, because they're going to play an open game, because they're going to be open, and the fullbacks are going to want to, also join the attack, I think that's where Martinelli, Saka will punish them. That's where Odegaard's quick thinking is going to come into place. I don't see Arsenal keeping a clean sheet against Newcastle United. I don't think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet, but I think Arsenal will win this one 3-1.